folks. Councillor Craig Buchanan here, coming to you ahead of our December 2020 meeting at the City of Rockingham. And I think it's safe to say that there's something for everyone this month, with our regular council meeting on Tuesday evening and then our Annual Electors Meeting on Wednesday. Both of those kick off at 6 p.m. on their respective evenings upstairs in the city's admin building, and members of the public are very welcome to attend both or either event. The planning portion of Tuesday evening's meeting looks to be fairly light. We'll discuss the temporary closure of the Lesane Crescent car park in Warnbro, and then we'll discuss some potential black spot funding that's proposed for the intersection of Safety Bay Road and Nairn Drive up in Baldivis. Then we will debate the business plan, which has been drawn up for us by the officers. Now, most of you will be aware that I asked for a range of options to be presented, but in the end, the Council voted to have a single business plan prepared, and it goes without saying that I respect that decision. We now have that plan in front of us, and as I expected, it involves gradual increases to rates, 2.2% in the next financial year, followed by 2.4%, and so on and so forth, slightly up, slightly down over a 10-year period. Now, I made you a promise at the ballot box last year. I promised you I wouldn't vote in favour of an increase higher than CPI. CPI is currently sitting around 1.5%. Others made similar promises, but have since reconsidered their positions. I still maintain that our local economy is not yet back on its feet after COVID, in support of which I'd cite the high levels of mortgage stress being reported across our two main postcodes, 6168 and 6169, in national reports from Standard & Poor and from Domain, both of which place us in the top 10 mortgage stress regions across the whole of Australia. I do not, therefore, intend to add to the financial stress of local residents by reneging on my promise to you. The proposed rate for 2021-22 must come down if it's to receive my support. The records management policy is back before us, having gone to an engagement session last month so that we could kick it around a little informally. Here I've got to say I'm inclined to bend a little. The policy looks arduous on the surface, requiring councillors to copy all correspondence, whether it be email or social media, to the city for archiving. However, we've since been advised that the city can automate that process for us, and if I have the information that I've been promised ahead of Tuesday night's meeting, then I can see how that's going to work, and I may well be inclined to be more sympathetic to the proposal than I have been in the past. We'll then get to the request to approve $25,000 worth of grant funding under the heading of Iconic Event Funding for the RKCC's Long Table Lunch early in the new year. Let me say this about the RKCC and the Long Table Lunch in general. First up, I take my hat off to the RKCC for the work that they do. They represent a portion of our business community here in Rockingham and Kwinana, and they represent them very well. That being said, they are only representing a portion. And over the past few years, if you look back through the minutes of various grant committees, I believe you'll see they've been the recipient of something around the region of $350,000 in ratepayer funds. Now, that isn't to suggest that that money wasn't given with the best of intentions, wasn't well spent. But here's a radical thought. If we're serious about supporting local businesses, and I hope we are, I know I am, then how about, instead of taking from every business through our business rates and then giving back to a portion via the RKCC, we keep hold of the money that we've got and we offset it against a cut, however small, for all businesses when they next receive their rates bill. That seems fair and proportionate to me, whereas the proposal before us panders to the few over the many. I want to support our local businesses, but I want to support all of them. And as a responsible local government, I feel we do that by reducing their rates burden, not by raising it year on year and handing the proceeds to the few. Who knows? Businesses may choose to take that saving and use it to pay the annual membership of the RKCC, boosting its numbers. That would be a win for everybody, wouldn't it? Of course, that's just my opinion, and it will be very interesting to see where the whole council comes to sit on this when it comes up for a vote on Tuesday evening. It seems we won't now be discussing alcohol in the Councillors' Lounge until our January meeting, which is no bad thing. If you want my thoughts on that, scroll up a little in my timeline and catch the video I shot on the subject a little over a week ago. I'm grateful to those of you who commented, and rest assured that I will take those comments on board when we do discuss the policy early in the new year. And since I've already booked a table at the Pipers for those councillors who wanted to debrief over a self-bought pint or refreshment of their choice, I'll still put the option out to my fellow councillors. Let's see who joins me. The alternative appears to be a sit-down meal with the officers, which I certainly won't be attending while this review is hanging over all of our heads. We'll be considering a report on a review of wards and councillor representation. It's a fairly long and complex report, but to cut a long story short, there are 5 or 6 scenarios open to us, many of which would reduce councillor numbers. My personal belief, and the belief reflected in the public consultation, is that we're a growing city. God knows we're always reminded of that when we try to rein in spending. And as a growing city, we need an appropriate level of representation. For that reason, I'm personally leaning towards option A, which would see us retain the current 3 wards with their 11 councillors and would add the elected mayor on top of that. I've no issue with a review either 12 or 24 months further down the track to see how that system is holding up, but my gut says we don't want to start cutting council representation at a time when our population is on the rise. Again, it'll be interesting to see where other councillors come to rest on that. Incidentally, there is a wonderful line in the officer's report which notes that 38 submissions were received in the final 3 days of the public consultation, most of them favouring the 11+1 model, which appears, according to the report, to be a consequence of social media posts across a number of Facebook forums advocating option A. Let me just say that for once it wasn't me doing the pushing on social media, guys, though I heartily approve of it because I think it shows that our residents are engaged in what we're doing. So thank you to everyone who took the time to write in and share their opinions. We'll appoint a councillor to represent us on the Disability Access and Inclusion Committee, and that will pretty much be us done for Tuesday night. But as I said, we are back in the saddle 24 hours later for our annual electors meeting on Wednesday. For those of you who haven't been to one before, the annual electors meetings are your chance to raise issues and to ask the council to take action. Indeed, if you have enough support, it can be pretty easy to get your motion, whatever it may be, onto the agenda of our next regular council meeting. Last year, the meeting was dominated by concerns over Point Parent. This year, honestly, who knows? As councillors, this is a chance for us to listen rather than to speak, and I look forward to hearing what you as a community have to say and what topics you'll choose to raise with us. So, a busy few days. If you've got anything you want to raise with me directly, you know where to find me, either here on Facebook or via email at cr.buchanan@rockingham.wa.gov.au. I'll be back with my usual after-action report next week, once both of our meetings are behind us. But in the meantime, don't let the Christmas shopping stress you out too much. Be good to one another, to yourselves, and God bless.